Hello, welcome to a new tutorial on Unreal Engine 5 in the second part about how to create an enemy for our horror games. In the first part we saw everything that is the enemy's movement, the movement around the map, and if it detects us, will begin to chase us. In this second part we will see everything that is the animation of the jumpscare when it reaches us, stop the player's movement, and a fade-in transition at the end to give that effect of if it cuffs you, the player die. The first thing you must do is to enter the enemy's blueprint, and here in the viewport select the mesh, and we are going to add a camera. And what we are going to do is to the right where it says sockets, we go to the folder and we look for the bone to which we are going to fix the camera. This will change according to each 3D model that is different. If you have one of your own, it will surely have other names, other bones, and you will want to adjust it to a different bone. This is basically where we are going to fix the camera for the jumpscare, so it can change, there's no problem. In my case, I am going to select the head, and as you can see, the camera begins to look at the head. And in fact it moves according to the character's animation, so it's ideal for our purposes. But it's not very well set, and what we are going to do is adjust it. Before that we go to the mesh, and here in animation, in advanced, we must check pause anim. This to stop the movement, and so we are going to adjust it well in a precise way to the camera. So now we are going to turn it 90 degrees, we put it here in front and we turn it because it is vertical. If we want to see how it looks, we can go to this bar, and if we select this, screen appears and we are going to see how the camera looks. If you want to adjust all this, it already depends on each one. This seems perfect to me. Don't forget to uncheck the pause in the mesh. Now we go to the event graph, and here, just inside what we did in the part 1 about the movement, we go to where the enemy starts chasing us. And here where it says on success, once it catches us, we are going to add a do once. And here we are going to create an event where the jumpscare is going to be. But before that, it's important here we are going to change this. Remove where it says get actor location that connects to the destination, and we are going to connect this here to the target actor. We do this to enable this. If we do it in the way we had it before with the actor locations, this will not work, and it will not detect us when the enemy catches us. Therefore, it is important this change so that we are going to execute the jumpscare wall, and we create a custom event. Therefore, we are going to add a sequence. If you keep pressing the escape and then the left click, it will appear immediately. And the first thing is to stop the enemy. To stop the movement that stops activating this event if it catches us, so it will be the same as before. Call the clear and invalidate timer by handle, dragging from here and reconnecting to the sequence. And the second thing will be the animation of the jumpscare. It's important to copy the blueprint of our player and drag from here get player state, and from here we give it to get player controller, and then from here we give it to set view target with blend. It's important to do this because it's exactly what we are going to need. What it does is change the camera, the focus of the camera to the one we have in the player to which we have just created in our enemy. To be able to put in a new view target, we must give it get owner, and here we change it. This does it in an animated way, so that it does not look so rough. That is, does not like a teletransportation of the camera. If we want to adjust these values of the animation, you can adjust right here in the blend time. If we have it in 0, it will be in a rough way. But if we want it to have an animation effect like the camera is turned around and the other one is changed, we change the values. For me, 0.325 is ideal. That is done, so we put a sequence again, and now what we will do in 0 is add a timeline. We double click on the timeline to enter, and here we set 0.75 to the length. We add the track, add flat track, we give it a name. Right here, right click, add K, and we will give it the following values. In time we will set 0.75 and value 1, and the other we will set 0.65 and the value 0. And just put in the first one that we have here below, we press K1 and it will give the curve so that it does not look so rough. We can close here the timeline, and what we will do inside this timeline will be camera movement that will give the effect as if the camera was directed at the enemy's face, as if it was a monster that wants to eat us. So we can put an animation that opens the mouth at the moment it catches us. This timeline movement will move the camera and it will get it just toward its face and as if it wants to bite us. To do this, first is this timeline, and the second is to take the camera that we created, the camera of the enemy. We give it get relative location, and just here in the circle we right click, split stroke pin, and so we will be able to divide this into different axes. Here in the same camera we put set relative location and we connect this to the timeline update. Inside the relative location we will do the same thing we did here. Right click, split stroke, and we will only connect the axis that in this case will not vary. This will depend on the moment that we create in the camera according to the position and the rotation that we have given. Now here in the viewport we select the camera and we approach our enemy. Before doing this, do not forget to pause the animation here as I showed before. We must look at the values that are changing, and in this case it is only changing the y-axis, so we go from the value of 50 to I think 20 can be good. Therefore, the other values will remain the same. They are the ones that we place here. X and Z axis are the ones that remain the same. They are the values that do not change, so we connect them. As the y-axis change, it will the one that we are going to connect to here. We take from the relative location, we give it a lerp, and in the value of A we are going to place the initial value. In this case is 50, and the value of B is the value that we want to place. In this case it will be 20. It's the value to which we want to go that is closer to the face of the enemy. And everything that is the timeline will be ready. After this we are going to place a delay, and this delay is going to be related to when this ends. We give it 0.75. You can place it like this, as well as you can do, if you don't want to do this with the delay, you can remove here the sequence and place it like this. I leave it like this and connect to this new one. So now I'm not going to connect anything because we need the transition event at the end. The way to do this is we have to go to the content browser. We must go to the user interface with the blueprint and create one. We enter at a canvas panel and add a border inside. Inside the borders we go to Enter and select to cover the entire screen. In values we place everything here in 0, and here in brush color we select and change it to black. And right here inside the alpha part we change it to 0. Now here in the same border we go to animations, we put a name inside this animation, we add the border that we created, and we press in track, and we add a brush color. We see that these are the default values that are already there. So I put here a dot is one of the initial value, And now we go to the second one, this transition. If you want it to be slower, put more second. If you want to be faster, less. I think that 1 second is fine, and we only change the value of A, which is set, which is the value of the alpha. And now we will see that it makes a black transition and reverse it perfectly. To apply this, we must go to our blueprint of our player, and where it is the begin play, here we drag it back and we write create widget. We select the name that we created, in this case is player with WB, and we drag it from here and write add to viewport. Now the widget that we just created is ready inside our player, and we can do the animation when we want it. We can close the player, and inside here of the widget we go to the top right and click on graph. We delete this, we don't need it. We create an event, and at this event we are going to give it play animation. The animation that we want it to start just appear here, the animation, the name we put it, we give it we give it get and select the animation. All the rest is already default, it's not necessary to change it, it will reproduce forward, the playback speed is normal, you can change it if you need it, but in a sense this is all. And now inside here, right here in finish, what we do is we copy it again from our player, we bring it here, and before that we must go back to the player blueprint, and the important thing is to create a variable of this. We give it to promote to variable, and we give it a name, and we connect it as we had it before. Now from here we are going to call get player widget, which is what we created, and we can call the animation play anim, the event that we created within the widget. So once the enemy reaches us, it will execute the jumpscare event. What it's going to do is change the camera towards the enemy. It will execute the animation that the camera goes toward the face of the enemy, and when this animation is over, there will be a fading animation to a black screen. We are going to try to see how it looks. The enemy moves, it starts to follow, and we see what happens. As we can see, it's like it grows within our model. We can change it, and now instead of 20 we can change it to 35, and as you can see it worked as expected. If we want this to be much faster, we can change the playback speed here, or we can change these values here. Or if we want to make a transition in such a way that when the enemy is doing the animation with the camera as if it were getting closer to 1, it starts at the same time to execute the fading in a transition. We do not connect it to the finish, but we simply change this as it was before. We put a delay of 0.25, and as you can see, once it catches me, the delay starts and the two animations are executed at the same time. All these values can be changed to preference of each one, of what is needed in each project. In this case, it seems ideal for me to keep this. Now what will be missing will be one last detail, and is to make the player stop once the enemy reaches. For that it is very simple. We're right here where we have connected the clear and validate of the timer. We can move from here, from the blueprint of our player that we have down here, drag and write the stop movement immediately. We connect here, compile, save and test it. Now we will see that the enemy starts to move randomly. We enter its range and it will start chasing us, and as soon as it reaches us, the player can no longer move and the animation is executed. And with this you will finish this tutorial and our character will be ready for our horror game. I hope this will be useful to do, that you will be able to use in your projects. If you like this tutorial and it helped you, don't forget to like and subscribe if you don't want to miss the next videos. Thank you very much for watching me, and see you later. Bye!